What is up YouTube? It's the one and only Yugi Penguin, and today it's back. As you can see in front of you, I'm here with an August 2018 Monarch deck profile post Cybernetic Horizon, so please be sure to check out the new cards that I have added to this deck. It works so well, it catches people off guard. People do not expect you to be playing this in 2018 still. This deck got me second place on my local tournament 2 weeks ago, and I will continue to play this deck until meta people stop making fun of me for it. Okay, this deck is amazing. Let's get straight into the deck profile. Please leave a like if you haven't already. Please hit the subscribe button for more epic Yu-Gi-Oh content, and please click the bell next to the subscriber button so you'll never miss an upload from me. Let's get straight into the deck profile. I'm very excited to show you it. So let's start with the main card itself. You can only play one of it. It's Ehther, the Heavenly Monarch. This is the only card in Yu-Gi-Oh, I believe, that you can actually, during your opponent's main phase, you can actually tribute summon it. So the combo with this card would mean that if you have Monarch Stormforth set on your opponent's turn, you can actually quick play it, Monarch Stormforth, then use Ehther's effect to tribute it, and a monster of your opponent's choosing also to bring out Ehther, and then combo off from there by dropping 2 Monarch spell trap cards into the graveyard. Mainly would be the Prime Monarch or Patheism of the Monarch should you go first, because this is a first turn deck, and then you'd also combo off from there with the cards that are in your graveyard. But with Ehther, you can actually special summon a Monarch from your deck also in that turn, in case you run into any problematic boards from your opponent's side of the field, and in case they have any low powered monsters, they cannot get over that card, but you would have to return the Monarch at the end of your phase. So Ehther the Monarch, a Heavenly Monarch, is, you know, at 1 for a reason. But then we go into your other Monarch cards. Now we have 2 Erebus, the Underworld Monarch. It is efficient at 2, and you only need it at 2, I believe. The deck can brick sometimes, so be very careful. I have warned you here right now. But you can tribute summon this card by tribute summoning 1 monster. So if you have a tribute summon monster on the field, you can tribute it just as 1 tribute for this monster, or just 2 if you want to combo off from the graveyard, as you can, because you do play from the graveyard a hell of a lot in this deck. You also send 2 Monarch spells or traps with different names from your hand or deck to the graveyard. Shuffle 1 card from your opponent's hand at random, graveyard, or their side of the field into the deck. Okay, so it also works like a call by the grave in a way, because you're essentially shuffling the card that your opponent is using from the graveyard or their hand back into the deck. And if you're going first, then that's very fantastic, because your opponent is only going to have 5 cards in their starting hand anyway. So it's like you're both going first. So 2 Erebus is very essential. And during your opponent's main phase, the other good thing about the card is, if it's in the graveyard, you can actually use his effect to drop a Monarch spell trap from your hand and bring him back to your hand instead. So it recycles itself as well. Then I play 2 Caius the Mega Monarchs. This card is actually still broken in this day and age. If your opponent is playing Pendulum Magicians or Dark Magicians, then you can actually essentially just destroy the whole Dark Magician, banish them, and they can't even play that deck anymore, because when he is brought out, you can banish a let's say you can banish a card, inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. Okay, that's number 1. If it is a dark monster, you can banish all cards with that name from the hand, main deck, extra deck, and graveyard of the player who controlled it. And if it was a dark monster, you gain the additional effect of targeting 2 cards instead of the 1. So it destroys problematic boards. Caius the Mega Monarch is the best Monarch in the deck, hands down. Now we're going to level 6 Monarchs. And the reason I'm actually capitalizing level 6 is because we have a lot of new Cybernetic Horizon cards in this deck. So we play angmarl and delg. Okay, so these 2 Monarchs. So angmarl to start with. When this card is tribute summoned, you can banish 1 spell card from the graveyard and add 1 card with the same name as the banished spell card from your deck to your hand. Very good card if you want to get Domain of the True Monarchs out, if your opponent has already got rid of that card. You can also combo off with Edea, because when Edea is sent to the graveyard, which I'll show you very shortly, she can actually target a banished Monarch spell trap and actually return it to the hand. And delg is one of the new cards that I'm using, and it's quite a good card, to be honest. I've seen it a couple of times, and I didn't want to invest in the card. It's about £4 to £5 if you're paying for the UK prices. So when this card is normal or special summoned, you can select up to 2 cards in your opponent's graveyard, remove them from play. So again, works as call by the grave in a way. It doesn't have negate on it, but it still removes them in case your opponent actually wants to do that. and then you send the same number of cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard. It's very good. I mean, I really do recommend this card in the deck, especially with the other cards that I am playing in the deck to help out. So that's those two. And then we have the deck lockdown cards. This is Vanity's Fiend. Vanity's Fiend in 2018 really does shut down opponents' decks. This is why I came second, because I would have Domain of the True Monarchs on the field, which is my field spell. You have Vanity's Fiend, and that's deck lockdown in my opinion, because if you've done that on your first turn, your opponent cannot use the extra deck because you control a tribute summon monster, and you cannot special summon monsters either. That actually stops half of your opponent's plays straight away. So I really fully recommend Vanity's Fiend. And for the last Monarch card, level 6, Kuraz the Light Monarch. So when this card is normal or special summoned, you can destroy up to 2 cards on the field. For each card destroyed, that card's controller draws 1 card. This card cannot attack during the turn it is normal or special summoned. I only use this card for draw power, and if I have the 2 trap cards set on the field, the Prime Monarch, I will use it for that reason, unless I really need to destroy an opponent's card and get rid of it immediately. That's the only reason I'll play his effect through. And then we go into, the other best monsters of the deck. So we've got triple Edea, the Heavenly Squire, and triple Eidos, the Underworld Squire. This ratio hasn't changed whatsoever because I still play them at this ratio. They're still amazing cards. They both combo fantastically with each other. I'll show you a couple of combos at the end of the video that you can do in this deck, which means this deck is so good and how I run it in particular. So Edea, when it's normal summoned, you get to special summon an eidos from the deck, and if you didn't know Eidos' effect, you can activate his effect and actually gain another normal summon or set that turn. So he is actually fantastic. And then from the graveyard, you can banish him to special summon an Edea from the graveyard, who will in turn special summon other eidos from the graveyard, from the deck, apologies. And then you can also combo off from there and bring out as many Monarchs as you want, basically. So these two together, the synergy is fantastic. And then we go into some spicy tech of the deck, as I say. 2 Kaiser Vorse Raiders. I feel like that's a sufficient amount. So if you control no monsters, you can special summon Kaiser Vorse Raider. Again, I'll show you a couple of combos you can do with Kaiser Vorse Raider, Edea, and other cards that I'm using in this deck. And then the surprises of the deck: 1 danger Chupacabra, and a danger Bigfoot. I would turn this into a danger Monarch deck or something like that, just testing out different archetypes, but I'm just testing these 2 out for the time being. The danger cards are fantastic. It's essentially a +2 in my opinion, because you reveal it, your opponent's not usually going to choose them, but if they do choose the card, then they send it to the graveyard, you get to pop a monster on the board. It's so good as an effect. And also if they don't reveal it, you get to special summon it and draw a card. So these 2 cards are fantastic. I would actually recommend playing Danger Nessie also if you have the card, or Danger Jackalope I think it's called. And then for the negations, I only run the 1 Ash Blossom, and it's a very strange ratio. I don't own the 2nd Ash Blossom just yet. I was just excited to show you guys the video. So 1 Ash Blossom, 2 Veilers, and I'll show you the side deck at the end also in case you wish to switch them out. So now of course guys, you obviously in 2018 you really don't have to play this deck. I play it because I enjoy playing anti-meta, and because to come second with this deck, like I say, in 2018, it has to be onto a winner at some point. And I'm really catching a lot of people off guard with the deck. So off to the spell cards, I am now playing a triple Domain of the True Monarchs, the main spell of your deck, the field spell itself. So while you have no cards in your extra deck and you're the only person that controls a tribute summon monster, you don't run any extra card decks in this deck. Please do not ever try. Your opponent cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck. If a tribute summon monster you control attacks an opponent's monster, it gains 800 attack during damage calculation only. And you can actually reveal a Monarch card in your hand and drop its level by 2 if it has 2800 attack and 1000 defense. So basically anything like Caius the Mega Monarch, Ehther the Heavenly Monarch, or anything like Erebus the Underworld Monarch. So any of them, you can actually drop their level by 2. Domain of the True Monarchs is 1 card your opponent wants to get rid of immediately. Then we have 2 Tenacity of the Monarchs. Fantastic card, I only play it 2. You want to have as many Monarch cards in your deck as possible, like Monarch spells and traps to send to the graveyard too. But you know, the ratio for me, like I said, I'm comfortable the way it is right now. So reveal one monster in your hand with 2,400 attack and 1,000 defense, or 2,800 attack and 1,000 defense. In a nutshell, guys, you'd get to add a Monarch spell trap from your deck to your hand. Again, your opponent wants to stop that immediately also. Then we have the one-offs, which is 1 Patheism and 1 Monarch stormforth. I hope one day they actually, you know, in the next ban list, they actually up Patheism to 3 or Monarch stormforth to 2, like semi-limit Monarch stormforth or something. You don't really need to worry about this at 3 because you actually get to recycle Patheism as much as you can. I've recycled this maybe 3 or 4 times in the last couple of duels that I've had, so I really do recommend that Konami do put that up. I only play the 1 March of the Monarchs. You only really need 1. I don't really run it anyway because I play Monarchs Erupt. And then we go to Called by the Grave. I only run at 2. A lot of people are going to be shouting at the screen saying, oh no, run it at 3, run it at 3, it's important with Droll and Lockbird. Don't worry, it's not important. I never really use this in any of my duels in locals, and it just depends on your matchup. Again, I'll show you the side deck, and if you want to swap cards, then go for it, but I only run it 2 because I'm comfortable with that. And then I run my brand new Cybernetic Horizon Celestial Observatory. If you guys and girls do not know what this card does, place 1 level 6 monster from your hand or face up on a field to the bottom of your deck, draw 2 cards. As simple as that. You get your draw power, it doesn't really matter. As long as you don't get rid of Vanity's Fiend, I think we've established we need that card on the field. But any of your other Monarch cards that have already activated their effects, it's actually very good that you use that card. Then we play a card called Pinpoint Landing, one of my brand new cards also. So if exactly 1 monster is special summoned from your hand to the field, which it will be, you get to draw 1 card. And every time, because it's a continuous spell, if you don't do it once per turn, obviously on one of those turns at the end phase, this actually just goes to the graveyard, but you get some draw power with it. And then I play the 1 Shared Ride. So this is basically your max C of the deck now. So Shared Ride, after this card resolves, each time your opponent adds a card or cards from their deck or graveyard to their hand, it's essential and great that it says graveyard also. You accept by drawing them, you immediately draw 1 card. So Shared Ride is a fantastic card. It's actually gone up in price a little bit, but you can understand why. Then we play the 1 Allure of Darkness, self-explanatory. Foolish Burial Goods, you always want to use this on Prime Monarch to send that to the graveyard. The 1 Monster Reborn, of course, to round off your spells. And then finally for the trap cards, definitely broken card, one of the best cards in the whole entire deck. Monarchs Erupt, fantastic if you have this, the Domain of the True Monarchs, and any basically any effect monster like Vanity's Fiend. I'll show you the combo at the end with this also. So not only does this stop monster effects, it doesn't say anything like basically except tribute summon monsters. That's what I'm getting at. So it doesn't really matter if you have it because it doesn't stop your tribute summon monster effects, and most of your deck consists of tribute summon monsters. And last but not least for the trap cards, triple Prime Monarch. This works as a good decoy trap card because you always want to see it in your graveyard. I rarely ever play this card. If I set it, I will only use Kuraz's effect to actually destroy both of them and send them to the graveyard. And if I'm ever in trouble on problematic boards and I need a card to help me, I will actually activate his effect, banish a Monarch spell or trap, and then special summon it. It's a 2,400 defense. And then we go into the side deck, last but not least. So guys, if you ever want to turn this back into Divine Monarchs, I have uploaded that video on my channel once before. If you want to turn it into a God Monarch deck, all you need is the 1 card, obviously. Obelisk the Tormentor. I'll show you how you can get him out also in the first turn, and there's actually videos on my channel, especially playing through WCQs and any qualifier games. I was actually the first person ever to bust out Obelisk the Tormentor live on a stream on Twitch, so if you guys want to check that video out, it is on the channel. I will show you how to bring out Obelisk the Tormentor, why I play that in the side deck. This is more for the Goki matchup, but the Ring Dragon of Ra Sphere mode, it will just out most monsters. Luckily, it works as a kaiju. For negations, I'll play, well I say negations, Droll and Lockbirds, quite essential depending on the matchup. And 2 Ghost Ogre Snow Rabbits, quite essential also depending on the matchup. Spell cards, double Twin Twisters. I can't wait for the secret rares to come out in Shadows in Valhalla. That's coming next week. 1 Heytrune to push back all your opponent's set spells and trap cards. And the 1 Raigeki to round off. I think Raigeki, everyone knows what Raigeki does these days. And then last but not least, I just play a solemn package, basically 2 solemn strikes, a solemn warning and a solemn judgment. Okay, so boys and girls, without any further ado, I'm going to show you a few combos, tips and tricks that you can do in this deck that can actually just make your opponent look at you and think, oh my god, okay, Monarchs in 2018 can actually work. So let's say you have side decked Obelisk Tormentor and you wish to play Obelisk Tormentor. Your starting hand, let's just say you special summon Kaiser Vorse because you control no monsters. You would basically normal summon Edea because Edea, his effect can actually special summon an eidos from the deck. So you would special summon eidos and his effect actually reads that you can normal summon and set again this turn. So you would essentially just tribute summon all 3, first turn Obelisk Tormentor, and your opponent will just look at you like, oh my god, first turn Obelisk Tormentor, that's fantastic. You get a lot of respect for it. I've done that quite a few times. Another combo that you can do is basically deck lockdown. So let's say you've gone second, you set a let's say you set a Monarchs erupt. I'll leave that there because that's a bit too far back, forward. So you play Domain of the True Monarchs, obviously, and then let's say you've done the Edea, and then you've done the eidos, and then you got the effect. You can actually, let's just say you tribute an eidos, and then you got the Vanity's Fiend. So let's say, we'll get rid of that just in case. Let's say you got the Vanity's Fiend. This is first turn, basically deck lockdown. So you control a tribute summon monster. That means the effect of Domain of the True Monarchs is just ignition effect. You don't have to activate it. Because you control a tribute summon monster, your opponent cannot use cards from the extra deck. Now they can't special summon, and then you would activate Monarchs Erupt, so you can use your monster's effects. So this doesn't negate Vanity's Fiend because it is a tribute summon monster. So let's say this is the first turn. This is absolute deck lockdown, so no extra deck. There's no special summons and your opponent cannot activate monster effects. That is essentially a game winner right there in 2018. And then last but not least, let's just say you have, let's go for the Ehther effect. I'll show you this one. So let's just say it's your opponent's first turn. Basically you've got Monarch Stormforth set, and then you want to bring out Ehther. So let's say you've got a Kaiser Vorse, you had a really bad starting hand. Kaiser Vorse is there, he's a special summon monster. Your opponent's looking at you, they're laughing at you, you've got nothing on the board because you're playing anti-meta, you don't really have a big combo that you can play in Monarchs, but then they think to themselves, okay, well we're going to play our moves, they do their move, and you activate Monarch Stormforth, and you think, okay, no problem at all, Monarch Stormforth, they haven't negated it. Then you activate Ehther's effect. So let's just say Monarch Stormforth is in the graveyard, so actually you would have to banish the Monarch Stormforth with the combo from Edea, because it says on the card that you have to banish a Monarch spell trap card in your graveyard to activate her effect. It's a quick effect. Basically, because you've already used Monarch Stormforth, you can tribute off your Kaiser Vorse and the monster on their side of the field should they have one. You get to bring out Ehther. The effect of Ehther, you can drop 2 Monarch spells or traps into the graveyard. Those are the essential ones in my opinion, because you can combo off from there with Prime Monarch to special summon it in defense, or you can banish Patheism to reveal 3 Monarch spells or traps in your deck and your opponent will pick one. So then you've got Ehther on the field, and then the effect of Ehther can just special summon a Monarch from the deck. So let's say Caius and Mega Monarch. This card doesn't get an effect obviously because it was not tribute summoned. It's just by the effect of Ehther to special summon it. And then at the end phase, you'd obviously return Mega Monarch back to your hand. But at least you've got Ehther on the field. Fantastic card. The combos, I think, are fantastic. They're probably the best combos in the deck. Unless you've got stuff like Pinpoint landing on the field, you know, you get to draw a card, obviously. You get to rout your opponent on different turns also. So guys and girls, if you have enjoyed this video and you have found this somewhat informative, please leave a like. Please hit the subscribe button and please ding dong the notification bell so you'll never miss an upload from me. Hopefully my videos will continue to improve as they have been lately. Thank you very much for watching. YuGiPenguin is signing out.